Do you have a big stretch goal in your business and you're not sure how to reach it? Or maybe you are feeling reactive and you're sick of just trying to keep up with the day-to-day. Or maybe you've hit a plateau with your growth and you're trying to figure out how to break through. If that sounds like you, stay for this video where I'm going to share with you a master plan that you can do to get your team and you on the same page so you can hit your goal this year. This is a one-day executive meeting that you have to close the gap between where you are right now and where you want to be. My name's Catherine Lavery. I'm co-founder and CEO of Best Self Co. My goal with Little Mite is to share business, leadership, and productivity tips to help you take your idea and create an impact in the world. So let me give you a little background on Best Self. We started Best Self in 2015 with one idea that we launched on Kickstarter, and then before the end of 3 years, we had grown from 0 to 8 figures in revenue, and it was insane, rapid growth. And in 2016, we won the Build a Business competition with Shopify, which was for brand new businesses. And then in 2017, we had scaled so much that we ended up winning the 2017 Build a Bigger Business competition. So it was insane and awesome, but at the same time, we were often running to keep up. We were growing so fast that we had no experience with it. And what happens is eventually it catches up with you. We had grown to a point where we didn't know what the next step was. We didn't know what we didn't know, and we needed someone that had been there before, that had reached this part of business that we didn't know about. There's a lot of stuff online and how to learn about starting a business and growing it at the beginning, but getting to our level, we were finding less resources to get where we wanted to go. Now, we could have kept going as we were going, but what we were looking for is how do we buy time back? How do we hire someone that's been here before and that can guide our way? Because we'd all obviously had mentors and people to help us before, but what we were looking for is to hire our boss that could advise us how to get to the next level of business. So we hired a president, and this person has worked at much bigger companies than us, has helped them scale, has been there to do a lot of the stuff that we want to do. And instead of us struggling, trying to figure it out for ourselves, we hired him. And this is something you'll want to weigh the cost of if it makes sense for you or if you're at a point where you can do that. But for us, we just realized that we didn't have the capacity to get where we needed to go at the speed that we wanted to go without hiring one of these key people. So Ron came on board February 1st, 2019, and that is when we scheduled a one-day executive planning meeting, which we just did a couple of weeks ago, and I want to walk you through what that process looked like. So this one-day meeting is for everyone to get on the same page, and I don't mean the whole team, I'm talking about the decision makers. So in our case, we didn't want to get in the weeds. It has to be in person. We're a remote company, but we still get together to do sessions like this because you can do a lot more in person in these type of sessions than you can do online. Now here's how to structure your one-day executive meeting. The whole day is going to be broken down into 3 parts. The part 1 is current state, then big picture, and then 3 is a game plan. So part 1 is current state. This is creating your baseline. This is knowing where you are right now so you can see where you're going to go. Now, this is going to be really difficult if it's your first year in business. If you're watching this video and you have not been in business, it's really hard to track where you can go, because if I'd been in my first year of business, I would have set my goal much lower than we hit because I had no idea what to expect. So it's always good if you're in your second year of business to look at what that first year looked like so you have some sort of baseline. When we were looking at the current state, at the beginning, kind of as a warm-up, we looked at concerns, opportunities, roles, and expectations. For concerns, this is where are we currently concerned about the business? Is this competition? Is this the team? Is this sales? Is this our marketing? Is this our ad spend? What is it that you're concerned about? It's just good to just put that all out there. This way it can be addressed. Next is the opportunities. Where are you seeing opportunities in your business that you want to leverage in the next year? you want to put all of the opportunities down so that everyone gets that off of their mind. And next is roles and expectations. So we had this because obviously Ron had just come on board and he wanted to know what our expectations were of him and vice versa so that he knew how to find success in his role. Now, whether in business or personal life, where we have issues is when there is a gap between what we expect and what is delivered. And this is often the case when someone doesn't know what you expect from them. That was kind of part 3 of the meeting because we were bringing someone on board and we wanted to set expectations for him and then also for ourselves. Next is you want to just do a very quick visual version of what your previous year looked like. So for us, we did kind of like a childlike bubble diagram of, okay, here's the markets, and the bubble was the size of the revenue that it brought in, and then we also had expenses, so the bubble was the size of the revenue or the expenses that went out. And from here, we could be like, oh wow, our expenses are high and bloated, we should look into that, or this channel is a little smaller than I thought, let's figure out what we could do on that. So it's very like high level, but you can look at it and know exactly what it means in a few seconds, which is key because like I said, this one-day meeting, you don't have time to jump in the weeds with everything. The key is to look at everything big picture. Part 2 is big picture. This is where you're looking at where you want to go and why you want to achieve what you want to achieve. Now, you want to set priorities for the year. So is sales growth your priority? Is profit your priority? Is growing the brand your priority? This is all going to change how you look at things. So when you've looked at where you are currently and you have the big picture goal of where you want to go, so you have that revenue goal, you can look at the different channels that you have and figure out how much you need to grow by. So for us, we have 3 different Shopify stores. We have different Amazons in Europe and in the US. We have wholesale. And so all of these channels we have to look at, okay, how much can we grow next year? Did we make any mistakes last year that we can fix this year and grow bigger? And that's how you sort of take that big goal and break it down per channel into, how much is possible. And from there, you can look at, okay, how much is going to come from existing products that we already have? And then how much is going to come from new products that we either have in development or we don't even have started yet. And from there, you have a clear idea of where your efforts are going to have to be focused. Part 3 is the game plan. This is when you're going to figure out where you are right now and then what projects and priorities you need to be setting to hit that goal that you looked at in part 2. This is taking the big picture where you currently are, those opportunities and concerns that you had, and kind of meshing them all together into your game plan. So by the end of this session, you are going to have a number of projects that need to get done in order for you to hit your goal. So for us, I think we had something like 10 projects that we needed to do in the next 9 months for us to be able to hit this goal. Now, some of them were bigger than others. Some of them would take a couple of days. Some of them were much larger. But the key is, firstly, to lay out what the projects look like. With each project will be a different timeline. It will also be a different priority level, and it will also require different members of the team mostly. So it's not like these are linear projects going one after the other. There can be multiple projects being undertaken at one time. The key is to figure out what's the highest priority and to schedule it and know who in the team is driving it and who in the team is going to be working on it. So for each project, you want to have a high-level sponsor, and then you'll have someone that's driving the project, and then you'll have team members that will be working on it. So something like a new product would require probably me as the sponsor and my product team to push it through. Something like the website would require much more members of the team to be able to get it from start to finish. So depending on the project is going to require different numbers of people and different priority and also a much different way of approaching it. So for us, the website update and branding update was top priority. So branding and messaging was one. And the second two top priorities was the website and also new product. And I know you might be like, there's no such thing as two joint priorities, but the key for that is that for the product team, it was all about new products. And for the marketing team, it was, we need this new website. And so these two can be done simultaneously without one really affecting the other. Once you have all your projects with the team members, it's going to be pretty clear what team members you need to be hiring. One last thing, when you're putting out these projects, don't feel like you need to create an action task list for every project. You are really just focused on high level things that need to happen rather than getting into the weeds, because again, you have one day for this executive planning session. You don't want to waste it in the weeds when there's so much more high level stuff to do. And that is part 3. That is really setting up your game plan. So by the end of your one-day executive meeting, you should have a clear view of where you currently are, 2, where you're going. So you should know exactly where it is you're going by the end of the year, and 3, how you're going to get there with the game plan. Now you might be wondering, when do I need to do this? Firstly, if you've been in business for more than a year and you don't have any planning of what the next year looks like, get a meeting on the schedule. It's also great to get all team members on the same page. If you've made executive hires, it's a great way to get everyone on the same page, knowing the priorities of the business. And it's crucial to have this structured plan so that you are aligning what people are working on to a project. Now, when you get to the end of this day, honestly, you're going to be exhausted because you've put so much brain power into getting your plan structured out. But what I will say is, even though you're going to be tired, you are going to know exactly how to get to your goal, and honestly, it's going to leave you feeling much less stressed, much less anxious, and now you have constraints to work within. Now your big goal actually seems achievable because you know exactly what the projects that need to be done are and who in the team are going to do them. Let me know in the comments below what your big takeaways are, and also, when are you scheduling your one-day executive meeting? I want to know what the feedback is, I want to know what the results are, and I want to know when you hit your goal this year because you went through this meeting.